A new survey states more kids may be using drugs and using medical reasons as their excuse. And we're learning more about a school bus crash that killed a father and daughter. Today, we hear from an eyewitness. Plus, millions of shades and blinds are being recalled because they pose a threat to children. All that and much more. The News at Noon starts right now.
You're watching WHSV News at Noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to the News at Noon. I'm Kay Norrid. Keith Jones has the day off. Well, it certainly feels like t-shirt weather right now, but you may need a jacket by this afternoon. Meteorologist Tracy Turner joins us live in the First Alert Storm Center with our forecast. Tracy?
Seeing that cloud cover hanging around, it's going to stay with us through the day. Can start to pick up where that cold front is, though a little lighter on the cloud cover back to our west. Temperatures still pretty warm out there. We're looking at the mid to upper 50s in the valley. 51 in Franklin right now, so warm conditions, 53 in Winchester, but I think it's about through here where we're starting to see those temperatures drop. You can really pick it up on the winds. Still seeing westerly winds for Stanton and Harrisonburg, even in Franklin, but starting to come from the northwest in the northern portion of the valley, and these temperatures are going to come down fairly sharply once we start to see those northwesterly winds. I'll have more on your forecast coming up later on. Okay?
Thank you, Tracy. New at noon, a survey released overnight suggests teenagers are smoking more marijuana. Some experts believe it could be due to increased use of medical marijuana, and as WHSV's Ed Durant reports, the fact that it's readily available. Ed?
Okay, officials at the Harrisonburg Boys and Girls Club report students saying marijuana is easier to get than candy. To change their beliefs about the drug, the Boys and Girls Club teach middle school students, giving them this quiz of sorts, asking them what gateway drugs are and about their views to get them talking about drugs. Like cigarettes, marijuana, commonly referred to as weed or pot, is a gateway drug. Teachers acknowledge there is a drug problem in the community, but say teens need to build self-esteem and change their beliefs, ultimately changing their behavior.
We let them talk, we let them communicate, we find out where they're at, and then we talk about wise decisions they need to make and how that affects them in the long haul when they're looking for jobs, when they're looking for potential colleges. I think parents are a key. If parents help and they partner even with us, I think the kids will have a great chance to make it.
The Boys and Girls Club says most kids admit they make mistakes based on bad decision making, but through the program, they're seeing positive results. Okay?
Also new at noon, Warren County deputies are hoping you can help them track down a robbery suspect. The robbery took place last night at Henry's Grocery on Strasburg Road in Front Royal. The clerk says a man came in with a bandana pulled over his face, pulled out a paper bag, and demanded the clerk to fill it with money. The suspect then left the store headed west. Anyone with information is asked to call the Warren County Sheriff's Office at 540-635-7100. And we want to update you on a story we first told you about yesterday. A Frederick County family is mourning the loss of a father and daughter killed in a head-on collision with a school bus. Winchester police say the driver lost control of his car in Winchester and ran head-on into the Frederick County school bus. The driver, Richard Brill, a former Frederick County Sheriff's deputy, and one of his daughters died from the wreck. Another daughter was injured. Deputies say none of them were wearing seat belts. An eyewitness had this to say.
I went around to the passenger side and pulled out, got the door open and was able to pull out the little girl. And I got her onto the bus just to get her out of the scene. It was one less thing. And when we went back, another gentleman had come back and checked the man's pulse, and he had no pulse, and we had already called 911. There's quite a bit of black ice. We actually had a few of the officers slide and trip while they were getting out of their cars and coming to the scene.
None of the 12 students on the bus were injured. Deputies say yesterday's icy roads contributed to the crash. And winter weather can sometimes mean a day out of school for students. Administrators in Winchester follow a checklist to determine whether classes are delayed or canceled, and Frederick County Public Schools get reports from bus drivers and transportation officials to assess road conditions when bad weather strikes.
We have staff members who actually go out on the road to make evaluations firsthand and see what the conditions are like. In addition to that, we're monitoring a number of different websites, weather websites, looking for things like the forecast, what weather is in our future, the current conditions, and then the temperatures, not just say in Winchester, but throughout all of Frederick County.
School officials across the valley stress that safety is their #1 priority when making decisions to delay or close schools. Some farmers in the valley may soon hear from the federal government asking them how things are going. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is sending out a survey to see how the current economy is affecting farmers. The survey will reach 35,000 farmers nationwide, about 330 from Virginia. Farmers will be asked about equipment and labor cost. The government will use the information to shape farm policies. We talked to one local farmer about how this year has affected the dairy industry.
When this world economy went to pot, we lost the exports. And that was basically 10 to 12% of our milk was going out of the country, exported. And now we've got all of that extra milk. And it just, it's a perishable product. You've got to move it. And it just, slammed us right there.
The survey is set to run from the 1st of January to mid-April. Waynesboro City Council is considering a tax amnesty program that would allow residents to pay late taxes without a penalty and a decreased interest rate. Residents would have 90 days to comply. Council members say many delinquent taxes go uncollected. The council plans to discuss the topic again at their next meeting in 2 weeks. And officials in Waynesboro are also considering tax relief for the elderly and disabled. Council introduced an ordinance Monday that would increase the maximum income for residents to qualify for the tax relief from $25,000 a year to $27,000. Back in 2007, the city saw the amount of residents qualifying for relief double when council raised the maximum income and expects similar increases with this proposal. Council will vote on the topic at their next meeting. And in today's Good News at Noon, it's an opening just in time for the holidays. The Greater Augusta Regional Chamber of Commerce proudly announced the opening of the Valley Mission's latest thrift store in Waynesboro. And our Philip Townsend has more on how it's providing one man work during slow economic times.
It's more than just the opening of the Valley Mission's Waynesboro thrift store on Monday. For warehouse manager Marshall Powell, it's his first day back at work in more than a year.
We held on as long as we could. And, it happened overnight.
Powell lost his job at the end of 2008, and with nowhere to turn, he reached out to the Valley Mission.
It's lonely enough when you're out there on your own, but to have something that you can go to, I think it's really great.
Now he's helping the mission to expand.
Welcome to the Valley Mission.
Store manager Denise Kimbo is hoping the Waynesboro store can raise money for more mission locations, as the Stanton shelter continues to see an increased need for space.
But with the loss of jobs and different circumstances, it's really full right now.
They're off to a good start. Folks lined up outside the store before it even opened, and business continued to pick up throughout the day.
We need to be able to help the needy, the homeless, and this store will help us provide that.
Kimbo is expecting donations to continue, especially during the holidays.
All the things that we take for granted, you just don't know. Any one of us could be in those circumstances tomorrow.
Powell is moving out of the mission this week. Now back on his feet, he's looking to return a favor.
I'm going to continue to work here and just to give back to the people that helped me out so much.
In Waynesboro, Philip Townsend, WHSV News 3.
Thrift store employees say there still is a need for donations. You can drop off items like clothing, furniture, and appliances to the new store location, which is next to Kroger on Lou DeWitt Boulevard in Waynesboro. Ever shop at thrift stores?
I have before, yeah.
I love them.
Well, it's going to be a good day to get out and shop later on because it's going to be indoor shopping. Chilly temperatures on the way, folks. The cloud cover's already here. Cold front moving through. I'm going to show you what that means for you coming up next in your first alert forecast. If you're heading out this afternoon on the roads, however, things are looking clear and dry. This is exit 96 for Waynesboro off of I-64. Check the traffic before you head out. Just go to WHSV.com.
Still to come on the news at noon, the healthcare debate is heating up once again on Capitol Hill, and now the president is getting involved. Plus,
this flavor-packed scramble gets its inspiration from a legendary Hollywood, California restaurant classic. You'll see.